Fusebox. And we are most fortunate to have a delightful chap by the name of Brian Kidd, also known as the Unipiper, who, clad in Darth Vader costume, riding a unicycle while playing bagpipes and playing well, I might add. And oftentimes these pipes are aflame as he rides about the city. Thanks so much, Brian, for taking time to do this with us here.
Yeah, thanks for taking an interest in this weird thing that I do.
How could we not? What was the inspiration for this character?
You know, I don't know that there was like a single thread of inspiration. It was more of an evolution. Mm-hmm. I was learning the pipes, free lessons, I should add. You know, I just saw advertisement for free bagpipe lessons, and I was doing that when I found a unicycle in a dumpster.
Wow.
With no intent to put them together, but I thought it would be fun to ride the unicycle, so I started to learn to do that. And then I guess having those skills, it was eventually ordained that it should happen at the same time. And then from there, it just kind of took off. You know, I just started adding different elements of my personality, working it into this thing. And, you know, being a Star Wars fan, I learned to play Star Wars on the bagpipes. And then I started adding costumes. And at one point, somebody was watching me play and came up afterwards and was like, "That's impressive, you know, everything, but where's the fire?" And I was like, "All right, I see where you're going with this." I just strap a propane tank to my back while I ride around, and then the fire comes up the outside of the pipes and gives this effect that the pipes themselves are shooting the fire.
It looks to me like this was a custom deal, though.
Oh,
Someone had to have created this thing.
Yeah, you don't just go to Fred Meyer's and ask for your flaming bagpipes.
No. I tried. I did last week, and no. So you had to have somebody create this for you?
Yeah. I have a friend who does like pyrotechnics for a living. So, you know, it's all about who you know and calling in favors when necessary.
I don't know. It just fills me with joy. Tory Moore as a property has been here since 72. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, it got planted in 72. I bought it in 85. And at that time I was working in Nevada, and I was not happy there. And I read a newspaper in the Wall Street Journal that said maybe the best place in the world to grow Pinot Noir is Dundee, Oregon. And, of course, my question was, where is Dundee, Oregon?
Fair question.
So I just thought, like all things, I had a teenage son, and they knew everything. And so I asked him, and he had a girlfriend who was even smarter than he was, and so proceeded to learn that she was from Oregon, and Dundee, Oregon was someplace I ought to come visit. So I did. With that, on a Saturday morning, I came here and had an opportunity to feel the whatever you want to call this feeling that we have here, because I think there is something here.
Well, that is what I wanted to delve into a little bit, Don, because as I was speaking with you earlier, when I first came to this place, I was absolutely compelled to find out what is going on energetically in this place. It goes beyond feng shui for those who pay attention to such things. It's a very centering kind of energy, and I notice as we look around here, there's a lot of Eastern influences to.
Yeah, that's intentional. So I'm a student, or always have been a student of Frank Lloyd Wright and what he does, and originally from Wisconsin, so I had the privilege of seeing everything he's done pretty much, because that's the area. There's something special there as well. I tried to mimic that as much as possible, and after a while, there are certain things that happen to you in your life, and you know them when you get up there, but you can't explain them very well beforehand. So when I came here, I knew something was special, and I sat out in this Japanese garden, and I love Japanese gardens, and listened to the bugs, and it was quiet. And with that, the experience of having the opportunity of being here and looking at the grapes and feeling the energy, so to speak, in the field, in the grapes. Grapes are special, you know. They have all the characteristics of a human cell. They have energy systems. They have special systems to remove all the bad stuff from them. Grapes actually been used as a product to measure human aging programs, and they're a little expensive to do that, so they don't do that routinely. But it just says that these things are a living product. Even when it's developed as a wine, it's a living product and still alive in the glass, and is there to be enjoyed and to be appreciated.
And, you know, there's probably, I don't know, 4 people in the world who may not know who Ed Wood is, but I bet you even those 4 people have seen Plan 9 from Outer Space. Even if they know nothing about Edward D. Wood Jr., they will probably know that movie. It is rather ironic, I suppose, that his fame is now several times larger than it would ever have been in his lifetime.
Oh, and way more. And this was something that his widow, Kathy Wood, told me many times, was that Ed would have loved the attention, but would have shook his head, kind of wondering why him and why now and why all of this. I mean, we have to thank the Medved brothers for the Golden Turkey Awards back there in 1980 for all this. But Kathy, she said, too bad Eddie didn't live to see some of this, because he certainly would have loved it and could have used the money. I mean, they were broke alcoholic when they were evicted from their last apartment here in Hollywood, which, by the way, I live right behind it. It's on Yucca Street, and out my back porch door, my apartment building, I can see the apartment building that they used to live in here. So I actually ended up calling Warner Brothers Studios, and they gave me a number for Tim Burton's writing office. And I called there, and I spoke to a receptionist who said that they'd been trying to get a hold of Mrs. Wood. And I said, well, she's my neighbor. Could you give me more information about the film? And they did. But I ended up getting an entertainment lawyer for Kathy through a mutual friend who was a film editor. And his name is Bob Weinberg, and Bob became Kathy's entertainment lawyer. But he also dealt with a lot of other things besides dealing with the Disney people. Kathy had been on welfare and had Section 8 for her housing, was on Medi-Cal, and was, really at the poverty level. She was living on Social Security, and that was it. So all of a sudden, the Disney people were actually offering a little bit of money, and that money would take her off of these programs that she was on. So she had this decision to make, like, well, do I get the money and then get taken off of Section 8 and food stamps or whatever else she was on, and have a little bit of a nest egg, or does she stay on these programs and let Disney have her story for free? And she didn't want to do that. She thought, because she and Eddie had been broken for such a long time, that if there was any money to be made, she felt that she had earned it just by being with Ed for 22 years,
I just read an article this morning that was talking about what legalization is doing to the cartels, and they're actually looking to get out of it to a certain degree. I mean, I'm sure they'll still be doing it, but they just can't compete with the quality, and the price just isn't making it worthwhile.
So how much down has this price come? I mean,
it varies depending on quality and circumstance, people that you're dealing with. I mean, I've heard as recently as yesterday of pounds going for $3,200, which I thought was unheard of in this day and age, and I've heard it all the way down to $1,500.
Wow.
So there is a lot of fluctuation.
Yeah.
But these are all the growing pains that a legitimate business is going to have to, I mean, I've said for years, if this goes legal, pot should cost about as much as cucumbers. I can't say, being in the business, that I necessarily embrace that, but I see that as true. I mean, it's the black market that has elevated the price. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not what goes into creating the crop. And Oregon especially, I think Oregon takes pride in doing things a little better and doing things their own way.